My name is Bernard de Witt. I'm a lawyer by profession, active here in Belgium and in China. I'm also the chairman of the Belgian-China Chamber of Commerce, which is a chamber of commerce regrouping more than 500 companies in Belgium, as well Belgian European companies and Chinese companies active in Belgium. It's already more than 40 years that I have been busy with China. I have watched all the evolution of this country, so impressive, and I'm very happy and proud to be part of the little bridge that we are building between EU and China. I would say that Belgium-China economic relations over the last 50 years is a little bit like the EU-China economic relations. It has improved a lot when you compare the situation with 50 years ago, where there were very few Belgian companies active in China. The landscape is totally different. It's different in the various fields, logistics, for instance. When you see that our port of Antwerp-Bruges is having a lot of exchanges with China, we have many ships from COSCO coming. We have also the trains now coming to Belgium from China. So there is a lot of exchanges. There is a lot of business done in the logistic field with many Chinese companies and Belgian companies active in that field. We have also the airport of Liège in Belgium being a big hub for cargo flights with China. We have also in other fields, pharmaceutical field, we have the fields of energy, new energy, and now more recently the green industry, the green energy industry, the green dimension in the business, which is also developing very fast. We know how China is advanced in that field, but we have also a certain number of companies in Belgium and surely in Europe very active in the field and who have already some exchanges with Chinese companies and who are developing that. And I hope personally that there will be many more projects in common between European and Chinese companies. Belgian companies are sometimes quite adventurous. This is why the first joint ventures you had in China were with Belgian companies. Janssen Pharmaceutica, Bell Alcatel were very successful and well-known joint ventures among the first. Now we see that we have some of our big companies being present, like Solvay, like Bekaert, Barco, Umicore, for instance. But we have also a big number of small and medium-sized companies that are very active and that are now very active in China. Compared with 50 years ago, it's a big difference where we had nearly no small and medium-sized companies present in China. This is not the case anymore. So that is, I think, a good thing. We also see that a certain number of Chinese companies are present in Belgium. Belgium having a big advantage, geographically speaking. We are at the center of Europe. We are a good base for a company coming who wants to distribute, for instance, its products in Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, France. We are the crossroad of all these countries. So that makes also, I think, the nice success for a certain number of our companies. The challenge now is to go further by going to new areas. I mentioned the green business, for instance, the biotechnology, which is also some new business for startups. You have the artificial intelligence, which is also a new challenge and with new opportunities. So I think we have to think about new areas where business can grow, where we can have local companies having partnerships with Chinese companies. I think also that our universities are playing also an important role, because our universities have contacts with Chinese universities, and there are a certain number of laboratories, for instance, doing research in common. That is also something for the future, where we can develop some products in common. Well, as you say, I think by putting some means in common, we can achieve bigger goals. Here we have the possibility to have eventually establishing some research centers in common to develop some new products. We have also the possibility of distribution of some products that we elaborate, and to distribute it in China through Chinese channels, and also to distribute Chinese products, new products, through our channels. So I think we have to try to find a win-win solution, rather than putting barriers that will only provide very temporary solutions, but definitely not on the long term. When you see the last 50 years, the success of the last 50 years was precisely to have a more open economy, to have a more open market. And that is thanks to that open market that a certain number of companies could develop their activities, could grow. That is, I think, the key for the future. I think, as you mentioned, it is very important to better know each other. When you don't know someone, you don't trust. You think, oh, who are these people? They don't speak the same language, they don't eat the same food, and that. But once you start understanding, when you start learning about them, you will understand better, and you can develop a better relationship. That is why it is important to have more exchanges, especially with our young people. Cultural exchanges, for instance, studies, universities, schools even, having students traveling from Europe to China and from China to Europe. It is important because these people know better. We should also put the accent on learning more about China, Chinese language. We have a certain number of language schools. Let's develop that. We have sinology departments in our university. Let's develop that. In China, you have a European department in the big Chinese universities. That is something good. That is important, that people know better about the other country, about the other culture, about the other habits, the other language. You have so many extraordinary artists in China, contemporary artists. Let them expose in exhibitions here. And the same for all artists in China. I'm sure Chinese people are curious. Chinese people want to know better about new things. We have opportunities. Let's make use of that. Yeah, well, I would say look at what has been done last 50 years and see what can still be developed. There are plenty of things that can be developed in common. The next 50 years, I'm very sorry to announce you that in 50 years, I'm afraid I will not be there anymore. But many young people will still be there, and that is very important. Let's, as I mentioned, know each other better. Let's study about each other so that we can develop further our relationship. I think China is the second economy in the world. China is one of the biggest countries in the world. We cannot ignore China. So if you cannot ignore, let's study more about it. Let's understand it. Study the history of China. You have such a rich history in various fields, the cultural, the scientific field. So it's important to know also better about the history. It's important that Chinese people know about our history in Europe, because in Europe, and that is also the miracle we had these last 60 years, is that we did not have a war like we had in the Second World War. We did not have a war among the European countries. That is important. European countries from the EU. We have, unfortunately, war in Ukraine, in other areas of the world. But you see, by pushing for economic exchanges, by pushing for cultural exchanges, you can avoid conflicts. You can try to understand the other one better. Let's make people try to think how the other is thinking. It's important. If I'm doing business with China, I have to try to understand the Chinese mentality, to understand how is the consumer reacting, how is the business partner reacting. And if I understand that better, I will do better business. "50 years is not the end. It can be the beginning of a new era of better understanding, a new era of seizing opportunities to do better work and to develop further business, cultural, education relationship between EU and China." It's a real pleasure for me to congratulate Europe and China on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between EU and China. A lot of improvement has been known as well in China, in Europe, in the living conditions these last 50 years. I really hope that the next 50 years will see the continuity of this improvement in the living conditions that can be achieved by more exchanges, by more development of projects in common, by knowing each other better, by developing more cultural activities together, business activities, and economic activities.